From superheroes to super-yikes, 2023 has been a mixed bag for the sci-fi genre, with a few high-profile movies spectacularly underperforming. Some of these films haven't just bombed at the box office, they have outright tanked. What's amazing about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, is that two things will be true at once. It will be one of the highest-grossing movies of the year, and it will also be a relative flop for Disney. The film kicked off Phase 5 of the MCU with a bang, delivering over $100 million on its opening weekend, which was a record for the Ant-Man franchise. Unfortunately, it didn't sustain the pace, suffering a huge drop-off in the second weekend, and a pretty brutal run from then on out. At the end of the day, Quantumania topped out at $476 million worldwide. It's the lowest of the trilogy, coming in well below Ant-Man's $519 million and Ant-Man and the Wasp's $623 million. While almost $500 million worldwide sounds good to anyone, the film's reported $200 million budget means the movie likely did not result in a profit during its theatrical run. Over time, maybe it might inch toward profitability. That said, the way in which global audiences dismissed what was pitched as an Avengers-level event must be considered a disappointment for Disney and Marvel Studios. There was a time when the Transformers franchise seemed downright unstoppable at the box office, with Michael Bay at the helm during the height of his powers. Unfortunately, the Bayhem ran out of gas with The Last Knight, and Paramount has been trying to right the ship since then. Bumblebee scored $465 million worldwide, marking it as a win relative to its $102 million budget. That teed up the ball for the series to return to its former glory with the release of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Sadly, it didn't get the job done. Heading into theaters with mixed reviews and a 90s setting, Rise of the Beasts earned just $407 million globally against a pretty hefty $195 million budget before marketing. This means Rise of the Beasts has made less than Bumblebee, with a budget nearly twice as high. What does that mean for the future? It's tough to say, but Paramount needs to adjust its strategy because this isn't going to get the job done.
This is probably a lot for you, huh?
For whatever reason, the Jurassic Park franchise has mostly had a monopoly on using dinosaurs in blockbusters for 30 years. A Quiet Place writers Scott Peck and Brian Woods tried to change that trend with this year's 65. Starring Adam Driver and a bunch of CGI dinos, the film takes place 65 million years ago and sees a lost spaceman trying to get off of prehistoric Earth. Sadly, it didn't pan out. Against a reasonable budget of $45 million, the film topped out at $61 million worldwide. When accounting for marketing, there's no chance Sony came close to breaking even from ticket sales alone. The good news here is that Sony didn't overspend on this one. When accounting for VOD, Blu-ray sales, and other revenue streams, this one will probably break even down the line. It's just a shame that it wasn't an actual hit, paving the way for more inventive, mid-budget sci-fi from other studios. Hollywood follows the money, and the money didn't follow Adam Driver to the land of dinosaurs here. There will be few blockbuster disasters as high-profile as The Flash in 2023. Warner Brothers has been trying to make a solo movie about DC's fastest hero for years now, dating back to the early 2000s. Director Andy Muschietti finally got the job done, using a trip through the DC multiverse to tell the story, with troubled star Ezra Miller front and center as Barry Allen. The result was a much-hyped $200 million blockbuster that audiences roundly rejected. The studio is going to lose a fortune, to the tune of at least $150 million over this grave miscalculation. This makes matters complicated for the future of the DC universe and the studio's bottom line. The film is unlikely to cross the $300 million mark at the box office when all's said and done. Since theaters keep about half of all money from ticket sales, you can see why Warner Brothers is in bad shape. Blame it on overestimating the appeal of Michael Keaton's return as Batman all these years later, or Miller's off-screen troubles. Whatever the case, this is proof that audiences are now far more choosy about which superhero movies they will turn up to see.
I have nothing.
Robert Rodriguez has directed some big hits in his career, including Spy Kids and Sin City. Meanwhile, Ben Affleck has starred in his fair share of huge movies, from Armageddon to Gone Girl. With their powers combined, Rodriguez and Affleck made one of the biggest bombs we're going to see in 2023. The mind-bending sci thriller known as Hypnotic ended up being an utter train wreck. Against a sizable $65 million budget, the film opened to just $2.35 million. It only got worse, as the film crawled to $6.2 million globally. It's downright hard to believe a movie with a big budget, as well as an A-list director and star, can put so few butts in seats. Granted, this one got away from Rodriguez a bit, as the film was shut down several times by the pandemic, which ended up inflating the budget dramatically. Be that as it may, even with a budget a third that size, this would still be a pretty big flop. As it stands, a lot of people probably lost a lot of money, and this will certainly go down as a blemish on his career and Affleck's.